Yeah, look, I'm still, I've been doing this maybe 5, 6 years. I'd say that I'm maybe still a little bit early to see some of the benefits of potentially going down the private equity or the MBA route. Like, at the time I was more like, if this is what I want to do, like, why waste my time doing other things? But, I think as you get older, you sort of realizing having different experiences is sometimes helpful, right? And you build different networks and you see things a little differently. And so, I don't have a strong view either way. I don't think I can, just given, I've only been, I think maybe after 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, I can come like sit back and be like, this would have been a better route. This would have not been a better route, but it's hard to say at this point, I'd say. So,
So you're,
and I think it's,
yeah, go ahead.
what's up?
No, I said, so
Um,
if you know what you want to do, just kind of do it. Don't kind of, if you can, right, just kind of go for it.
yeah, there's a little bit of that. I would say that, like, exactly. But the flip side to that is like, well, if you can get different experiences, like, would that be complementary over the long run to your longer term career in public markets, right? So it's like in 20 years, maybe I'd look back and say, like, it would have been good to have done private equity and then an MBA, because I would have had those experiences and they would have helped me see things a little differently. And, but for me, it's too early to say that, because my peers who've just come out of MBA programs or jumping in from private equity, they just sort of started, right? So like they, over a longer period of time, if that experience would have been better, you kind of will see that over time. And I would say that. So I guess, yeah, to your point, like, yeah, I just felt like, look, this is what I want to do. I'm going to do it right now. I found a great job that I really want to pursue, and there's no point wasting time. But the flip side is, well, maybe there are benefits of seeing other things, and it's hard to right now. Obviously, that there, you can't weigh that because, like, they haven't had longer careers yet. So, but maybe there are benefits, and I can see that. And I would say that, the early observations that I have from some of my friends who've jumped in from private equity is that private equity, in public markets, it's very much a psychological game. And different styles of different ways of thinking about the psychology of investing. And with private markets, there's less of the psychology of investing, I would say, just because things are just not, like, you're not marking things to market every single day, right? So, and you're not seeing the emotional ups and downs from that. So in the market, and then also your own emotional ups and downs. So um, I think there's an element of, like, this is what the market might think kind of thing, which creates a psychology type situation. And what I'm trying to get at basically is that I think with private equity, sometimes being so super detail oriented, which is what private equity trains you to do, everything has to tie, like, you're buying a whole company. So you have to go through a massive diligence process, which is extremely valuable, to go through that and to understand, like, how every single part of the business works. But I think, like, sometimes stock prices move based on very high level things. So what I've noticed is some of my private equity friends who jumped in, like, they get very caught up in some of the details and miss maybe sort of the big picture stuff that are really going to move the stock. And I think that'll just take time for them to realize that some of the nuanced stuff, like, doesn't matter as much. But at the same time, like, maybe, it's not to say that having that experience of going very deep is wasted. It's just like, you have to know when to go deep and know when to not go deep. And I think that sometimes is a little bit of a challenge for private equity guys coming into the public market world. So.
That's fair. No, that's